Good morning, folks. Nice to see you all there this morning in good numbers. Good morning, Reagan Elite. Good morning, Sir Larry. Mind me not on the right side of you. So your videos with Marcus was very well done. Very well done. And I see on one of the comments I put in when I was talking about fiscal naiveness. I think his back's up that much he thought I was talking about him instead of the bloody subject at hand, you know. But hey, well, but it just made me know you're on the right side of you, Sir Larry. Hey, Aki's, Eddie, Ange, Alex, Anna. Who else is in? Let's have a quick look. I think you have, to be fair. Don't get me wrong, if you're going to roast me, Larry, I love it. You know me, I just love it. You want to do a roast of me, you're more than welcome, Larry. That'd be the biggest fanny a roast of me, actually. I wouldn't be getting shirty about it. I'd be going, yay, somebody's found me interesting enough to want to roast me. Morning, wake up and smell the rosemaries. Morning, Robert. Good morning, Barbara. Morning, Margaret. Morning, John Baxter. Good morning, Stella McLennan. Good weather's back, folks, so let's get into this as the numbers are climbing nicely. Good morning, Martin. And it's the Indie Truck Davy out the truck and at home in his office, as usual, as I am these days, in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. It's the 7th to the 7th, 2025. It's a beautiful day, absolutely gorgeous, and at the moment, it's 16 degrees. Clear blue skies. It's going to get hot as the week goes on, folks. Now, it's going to get really hot in the southeast of England. You can note 7 or 8 degrees off, and that's where the target will be. Well, that's where it will be here. So we're looking at 26, 27 by the end of the week. Keep hydrated. Get a factor 1000 out, folks, because you know what like us jocks are. We beetroot red by tomorrow. I'm already beetroot red, and I've only been out for about half hour this morning. So keep rehydrated. Now, folks, it's a new week, new nonsense in the press. But today, the interesting bit is what's absent from the press. It's what's absent from the press. It's what they're not talking about. David and I will be talking about it this afternoon, if you want to know what it is what I'm talking about right now. But there was some monumental events happened over the weekend, and there is nothing about them in the press. Nothing. Okay, folks, let's go on with the newspaper headline review. First up this morning, the Scotsman. Let's try and find it. I thought it'd be funny. They were jumping all over the place this morning. Well, try the other end. Right, here we go. The Scotsman. And it's got 999 response times hit by savage cuts to fire service. Reaction to emergency calls slower than in 2014, figures show. The response times hit by savage cuts to fire service. And I thought, that doesn't fucking sound right. Year on year, all the Scottish services, fire, rescue, police, ambulance, fire and rescue, police and ambulance, they've all had funding increases. They have. But what they're actually reporting is something that we talk about in fiscal terms when we're talking about government finances and house finances, and that's real terms cuts. It's a bit like, for example, if I get a 3% pay rise, but inflation's at 3.5%, then I've had a pay cut. And that's what's been happening with our public services. Even though they've been getting more and more money, record funding, actually, it's no covering the costs because of the fiscal situation we find ourselves in. And that's no driven here in Scotland, that's driven down that road in Westminster. So even though police, fire and rescue, ambulance are all getting funding increases year on year. It's just not been enough in the last decade to cover what they call real term costs. And that's why we have the term real term cut. Now, what's involved in real term costs? Increased cost of fuel, increased cost of energy, increased cost of labour, increased cost of the goods that they use, defibrillators, drugs, equipment, or that sort of thing. So although they're getting more money each year because of inflation and other pressures created by initially Brexit, of course, moving forward with the pandemic, then the Ukraine war, and then with the fuck up in the Suez Canal, and then with the Middle East conflict. And of course, we've got big corporations ripping the piss, especially the energy companies. You late, Lorna? Plenty of room in the naughty step. You're the first one up this morning. So, the story's not true. They've had no cuts. They just haven't had enough to keep going at the rate they were spending because of the rate that the fiscal situation changes and has changed over the last decade. But the reason why they put the 2014 bit in there is because that's when fire and rescue was formed. That's when Police Scotland was formed, and of course the ambulance service was came into the fire and rescue umbrella. So there you go. That's why we're getting a comparison with 2014, because prior to 2014 we had multiple services in each area. But that's the first bollocks story of the week. And by the way, the response times, I guess I better give you the response times, because you know what like Davy is. Davy went and looked. So response times will take us, then we'll put response times up. Shall we? Right, hold on, I'll find it. Are ambulance services in Scotland meeting response times? Well, the Scottish Ambulance Service has seen some improvement recently, particularly in its most critical categories. Category 1, formerly known as Red, is not consistently meeting the time at the target. Now, Category Red, folks, or Category 1 as it's called, with the call centres, the response time is 7 minutes. For the second category, which covers life-threatening illnesses, Purple, known as Purple 1, its response time is 18 minutes. Now, response times getting to Category 1s, they are mainly meeting the target of 7 minutes, sometimes just over at 7 minutes and 51 seconds. That's the longest wait recorded. Now, the reason why they're only making the two categories 90% is the amount of times that 7 minutes is 7.5 minutes, 7 minutes 50, 7 minutes 40. That's how tight it is. But just so that you know, in the Purple response, what they call colour purple, the response times here are being met consistently. The reason why it's 90% instead, 94, it's actually 94.6% in these two categories. There are people with non-life-threatening problems which are waiting, because you've got to categorise those with life-threatening problems. So our response time is getting longer. A few seconds here and a few seconds there, folks. You see, the latest recorded time in May, this is July, May, so 2 months ago, was 7 minutes and 51 seconds. 7 minutes and 51 seconds. That's your increased rate, the seconds after the 7 minutes. And the latest recorded in May, which is the latest available figures, was 7 minutes and 51. This is nonsense stuff. Nonsense stuff. We're talking about 60 seconds before we hit the 8 minute mark, and they're all making it in 7 minutes, X amount of seconds, or just on the 7 minutes, or just under 7 minutes. It's nonsense. But the next one's just as good, because it appears that our emergency services are going to get it this week. We'll see if it becomes consistent, the stories. Because next up, we have the Herald. So let's get rid of the Scotsman. And pull up the Herald. If I can find the fucking thing. Oh, it's going to be one of them mornings, folks. I can feel it. Here we go, the Herald. The Herald has ambulance waiting times rise for critical ill Scots. Well, as we've just explained, no, they haven't. And fire and rescue hasn't done better either, apparently. Fire and rescue's crap and ambulance waiting times up. Remember, ambulance is part of fire and rescue now, folks. But as we've just seen looking at the actual figures, they're talking seconds. They're talking less than a minute. It's fucking bollocks and it's nitpicking. Nitpicking. The headline figures are actually very, very good. We'll take that down, get rid of it. Next up with the scum, and we don't cover the scum, but it goes in a crime story. Mum slain in street. We'll get a wee bit more of that when we get to the Daily Fail, because the next one up is the Daily Fail, if I can find it. Yay! And apparently it's celebrating Drafter's price for the 99p, because nobody's buying this fucking shite. Anyway, Scottish Daily Mail has murder probe as mum is found dying in street. Man 20 is charged as tributes pour in for brilliant PhD scientist. And this is the story that Dr. Fortune Yamo, age 39, was attacked while walking on South Road in Dundee. And as the headline states, a 20-year-old man is in custody. He has been charged with her murder. Okay, let's get a shot of that. So, tragic, very tragic, but not that unusual. Hey. Next up, Zoloni Rag the Express. What's it got for us this morning? If we can find it. Not very professional this morning, are we? Zoloni Rag the Express has. State pension tax would be insult to all OAPs. Labour accused of treating elderly with contempt by not lifting threshold. And we're talking about the income tax threshold, folks, because of where it's sitting. Once they get their rises this year, a lot of pensioners will be subject to income tax. Those on the basic, it's only £1.50. And HMRC says they're not going to chase them for it. Those in the higher state pension, it's a wee bit more, they'll probably get whacked for it. Okay. But state pension tax would be an insult to all OAPs. The state pension in of itself is an insult to OAPs. Insult to anybody who has paid into a system for a minimum of 33 years to only get £11,000 odd a year back, or £12,000 a year back. Bad investment. Bad management's more like it by those in Westminster. Because they tell me if you put a comparable amount of money into a private scheme, you'd have a pot of 220,000 today. Well, I can assure you folks, you fucking with me. Because these mobs couldn't run a bar. And every time they get a fiscal fuck up, the pensions get fucking whacked as the hedge funds sell off bonds. But the state pension is an insult in itself. To tax it That would really be an insult. Nobody often agree with a loony rag. But I suppose every now and again, even a broken cloak tells the right time. Alright, let's get rid of the Lonely Raggy Express. And next up we have the Rancid. And it has another crime story. It's got hood battered. And apparently there was a video put out on TikTok. What can you say? We're talking about hoods here. You know, but TikTok seems to be attracting all sorts of nonsense. I mean, kids are actually videoing them attacking people on the street and things like that. Fucking nuts. You know, you may as well just walking down the cop shop and confessing. Anyway, apparently this hood got his heat cracked open with golf clubs. All recorded and put out on TikTok. And the hood is the guy that murdered the two in Spain. Two of the Daniels clan. Now, I'd heard that this guy had been picked up in Liverpool and was in custody. Didn't realise he played fucking golf in jail. 3 meals a day, telly and golf. Fucking hell. Sounds cool. Yeah. Magic. Right, next up we've got the Times. Let's see what the Times has got for us today. And the Times has stating Swinney is analogue in a digital age, and its attack and rout over Scotland's NHS app deepens. Now, listen, this is quite funny. That some idiot sitting in Westminster wants to have a pop at Scotland or its NHS app while it builds an NHS app. Fucking newsflash, Streeton, we've got an app. We have got integrated NHS services. All digitally hooked up. Fucking works brilliant. Yous lot have tried to do that in England 3 times. Twice under Labour, once under the Tories. And don't talk to us up here about fucking technology. The post office scandal 1 and 2. The scandal of NHS trying to digitise it, costing a fortune. Never mind the COVID fucking up. Hey, Dido! Where is our 37 fucking billion? Because your app never worked. And Streeton's got a cheek to have a go at us about our app. Our app's been up and running for a long fucking time, and it works well, thank you very much. Yep, you might not be able to book a prescription through it. You might not be able to get yourself a doctor's appointment through it. But you know, we have other forms of technology that lets us fucking do that. Imagine them having a pop at us for that. They're building an app and they're having a pop at us about our app. Bet you our app will be built a lot fucking cheaper than this fucking idiot does. After all, Dido Harden and 37 billion. And could they build a fucking app? Fuck. You go laugh at this stuff. Westminster and technology's never fucking worked. And if you look at the Houses of Parliament itself, fuck's sake. They tell me their offices, the wiring's all fucked. There's bus pipes. Half the building's unusable. Full of fucking rodents. And that's just the MPs. Wow. Streeton's having a go at John Swinney or an app that we actually have. And is working and functioning, thank you very much. And he's only talking about fucking building it. Man. Tell you there's some nonsense in the papers today to say, but there's a big thing absence in the papers today. Something very important happened this Friday, TikTok, and Saturday. And they didn't take long to fucking use it either. But we'll tell you about that this afternoon. Because right now, I'm choosing if I go on a rant, man. That'll be an epic rant. Right, next up. Should be the Telegraph. It's generally the Telegraph that follows the Times. And funny enough, I don't think we'll get a Guardian this morning, but I don't know. We'll see when we get down the page. Telegraph. Yeah. The Telegraph. Here we go. Labour willing to explore wealth tax, says Lord Kinnock. They might be fucking willing to explore it, but they ain't going to implement it. That's for sure. And as for the has-been Kinnock, fuck. I remember when people like him and Alistair Darling and wee George Reid and all them were fucking swearing blind they wouldn't go into the House of Lords. And he is just an old has-been. And the politics that was around when he was active, no, that sort of stuff wouldn't be acceptable today. That's why parties like the socialist parties, such as Solidarity and things like that, can't get themselves elected. Why? That's the politics of yore. The politics of today is right of centre and sliding into fascism. Right, that was a Telegraph, which is show it. We can find it again. Yeah, good, we've already got show it. Next up, we'll get a National. And this one's got an interesting headline on it today. No signal found. We reveal how TV broadcasters and newspapers are failing to report the truth about UK spy planes over Gaza. The National teams up with Declassified UK for special report. Now, those of us who have signed up to Declassified UK, we get this stuff into our inboxes, our email. But it is true. The mainstream media have been ignoring the fact that the UK is complicit in war crimes. And rather than hold truth to power over their accountability and being complicit in a genocide, they are silencing it. And that's basically what happened over the weekend. Voices who are getting louder and louder and louder and saying, "Hoi! This is genocide! You've a duty under international law!" That's being ignored. That warning is being ignored. And the people who are doing the warning are being clamped down on. But this paper's right. The mainstream media are complicit. And there is no way that any of these lying fuckheads in that party down that road that's running the administration can say they don't think otherwise. They know exactly what it is. But what they have done is they've decided that the UK arms industry is more important than the lives of children in Palestine. Making money is more important and is prioritised above the value of a Palestinian person's life. But Starmer, Lammy, and the rest of that front bench better know that there will be a reckoning. There will be a reckoning. I find what's going on very difficult, as you know, folks. Very difficult. I can't believe the way that administration down that road is behaving. But it's been going on a while. Right. That was a National. Next up with the Eye. What's the Eye got for us today? UK was 10 years from turning off the taps. Labour vows to avert new water crisis. Folks, I'm going to translate that for you. I'm going to translate that for you just so that you understand, especially the people here in Scotland. What this headline tells us is that the lie that was sold to the English people about the water companies being privatised and how it would make the service better and how it would save them money. Because what this headline is telling us is that the public purse is going to have to pay to build a wheel of new reservoirs across England and Wales, and the public purse will be paying today what the utility companies never did the whole time since they were privatised, and that is fix the fucking pipe network. 1 billion litres of water a day seep out of England's failing water infrastructure, and that's not including the shite-filled sewage which has been pumped into the rivers. But what that headline's actually telling you, if you're in England, and us in Scotland, because we'll end up having to cough up a share and all, is that rather than the companies who have been taking your money since they were privatised and investing it in the infrastructure and building new infrastructure, like the reservoirs you fucking need to keep the taps on, they pocketed it. And they're smiling and laughing. They still own the companies. They're still taking dividends. And you're paying twice. Twice. At least here in Scotland, our publicly owned water company gets paid once, maintains the network, keeps the water clean. And as we were talking about the other day, the fucking rag the Herald was fucking trying to make a wage of 1.4 million over 4 years to keep the water clean in Scotland was an outrage when it turned out to be £44.50 a loch, or if you were to add in all the rivers and burns, and there's many, you're talking about £5-6 a year to maintain a waterway. It's going to cost us to fix their fucking waterways. It's going to cost us to fix their leaking pipe infrastructure. It's going to cost us to fix their utility companies failing to build fucking reservoirs. It's going to cost us here in Scotland. Because it'll be called infrastructure of national importance, even though it's not of any importance to us here in Scotland. We were never anywhere near turning the fucking taps off. We've got 31,400 freshwater fucking lochs. We couldn't drink it all the 5 million as if we fucking tried. Mental. Right, let's take that then. Next up we'll get a metro. So let's see what nonsense is in the metro. I did say no nonsense, new week, new nonsense, folks. So let's see what's in the metro today, shall we? Well, no shall we, we're fucking gone. 2 billion NHS sticking plaster. And this is the cost of locums and agency nurses, folks. I've got one thing to say to that. Immigration control and fucking Brexit. They control our immigration and they're making it harder for us to import staff from abroad. It's also hard to train them here because they keep cutting the fucking budgets. They'll call what they give us a real times increase. We'll dish it out to the departments and it turns out to be a real times cut because of the way they've fucked the economy down that road. But hey, 2 billion NHS sticking plaster. I'll say two things to say to that. Immigration and Brexit. Not much more to add to that, folks. Stephen, you had a nice glass of water out of Strathclyde Loch, did you? Braver man than me, Gunga done. Just as well all the boats on it are electric, huh? Right, folks. They say something monumental happened, ticking over from Friday into Saturday, and it didn't take them long to put the jackboots down on it. We'll talk about that this afternoon, the Two Davies. If you don't know what it is I'm talking about, join us then. become informed. Okay, as I say, the story itself is on my timeline on Facebook. It's underneath the headline, "Fascinating, watching England slide into fascism." I even wrote a poem. Never done that before. But I'll not be fucking reading it for you. That was my thoughts at the time. Anyway, folks, that's it for this morning. First one of the week out the road. We're back at 4 o'clock with David to talk about these monumental events of the weekend, which are not being reported in the press. Now, I haven't seen any super chats, but if anybody sent any, thanks very much for your contribution to the Food Bank Fund. Nae grifting here, Sir Larry. There's nae grifting here. We're not interested in making money for ourselves. We don't need it. We get away to food banks. And I see Hughie's working with Darren to maybe do something similar with his channel. That would be interesting. Because he's got more subscribers. And as a Friday Frolics gets a fair size audience, I think there's 50 or 60 people tuning in. Not quite to this scale, but we've got a very specific audience, a very loyal audience, because a lot of you are our friends. Right, folks, look after yourselves. I'll see you in a couple of hours. Catch you later. Bye for now.